There are a range of GypRock thermaline boards which can be used within the GypLyner IWL system. They are GypRock Thermaline Basic, Plus, Super and PIR. Remove the skirting boards. Fill any gaps between the floorboards and masonry wall with any thistle undercoat plaster to minimise any air leakage when the new lining system is installed. Ensure all surfaces have been isolated by a competent tradesperson to enable works to start. Determine the high spots on the wall, plus a minimum of 10 mm. Mark the plumb position to the ceiling and floor at both ends of the wall to ensure the framework remains independent of the existing wall. Then, mark the width of the channel from this plumb point with a pencil. Once this is done, strike a chalk line on the floor and the ceiling. On uneven floors or where the design of the building dictates, 38 mm deep timber sole plates with width of the channels should be fixed to the floor first with suitable fixings. Fix the gyp frame floor and ceiling channels into place using suitable fixings at 600 mm centres. At wall abutments, use a gyp frame C-stud rather than an I-stud to enable the stud to sit flat against the wall and fix into place at 600 mm centres. C-studs are also used either sides of openings. This allows board fixing into the stud for the reveal board. Gyp frame C-studs are plumbed into position with a spirit level and fixed at the head and base using British Gypsum wafer head screws or a crimping tool. The wall lining is marked out at 600 mm centres for the position of the I-studs. Once the studs have been measured, cut them to the required length using an abrasive wheel cut-off saw. Ensure you're wearing the appropriate PPE before cutting the I-studs to length. I-studs are then located into the floor and ceiling channel at 600 mm centres. Once the framework has been completed, it is important to run a bead of GypRock sealant around the perimeter of the framework to minimise air leakage. Measure and cut the GypRock thermaline board. At openings where thermaline boards create an external corner, it is important to cut the insulation back to the width of the thermaline board that is being returned into the reveal. Once in position, GypRock thermaline boards can now be fixed into place at 300 mm centres. At external angles, fixings are reduced to 200 mm centres. For example, window reveals. It is important to return thermal board into the reveal and not use standard GypRock wallboard. Thermal bridging around openings can provide significant heat loss when GypRock thermaline boards are not used. GypRock sealant is used to fix the GypRock thermaline board at the reveal. Where the window does not have sufficient frame exposed to allow a thermal line board to be used at the reveal, the plaster should be chiselled back to the brickwork to accommodate it. The thermaline board is also fixed into the gyp frame C-stud profile at 200 mm centres. Apply sealant at the perimeter to prevent any airflow within the cavity and the lining system. A gyp frame C-stud is used at internal angles and fixed into place at 600 mm centres. Gyp frame 99 FC50 can be used as a service support within the lining system. Continue to fix the GypRock thermaline boards in place at 300 mm centres and reduce to 200 mm centres at external corners. Now it is ready for a skim coat of thistle board finish or multi-finish plaster. Alternatively, GypRock jointing products can be used. When built using all British Gypsum components, the GypLyner IWL system will be covered by the SpecSure guarantee.